All right, Giants fans, will Daniel Jones in 2020 have a breakout season? Type Y for yes and type N for no if you think otherwise. And let's get it started with the New York Giants report. Yes, what's good, everybody, and welcome back to Chat Sports. I am your host, Nick Dais, with the New York Giants Rumors and News Report. Make sure you are a subscriber to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. And let's get it started with the aforementioned Daniel Jones, the number 6 pick in the NFL draft in 2019, now going into his second season as a starter for the New York Giants, full-time, hopefully no injuries. We're looking at a potential breakout season, and I'm going to explain to you why I believe a breakout is coming for Daniel Jones. Look, he showed flashes in his rookie season. We did see a lot of downside, but let's talk about the good right now. A little upside when it comes to Daniel Jones. In his last 7 games, 62.3 completion percentage, over 1,800 passing yards, 18 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He showed the upside of a guy taken in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Also, the Giants did him a favor. 3 of the first 5 draft picks that the New York Giants had were spent on the offensive line. Of course, Andrew Thomas taking number 4 overall. Protection, protection, protection. We all love some protection for our quarterback. He must learn how to protect the football, and one way he can is knowing that he's not going to get clobbered every time he drops back in the pocket like he did last year. Look, last year the New York Giants did what they could in the offseason to bolster that offensive line, but it did not work. So you learn from your mistakes and you just add more depth to a position and a unit of need. And I love this quote from Joe Judge, the new head coach coming over from the New England Patriots staff, formerly of the Alabama Crimson Tide staff as well. I love this quote on Daniel Jones. I love working with the guy every day. He got a fire that burns in him. He brings other guys along with him. He shows up every day. He knows what you're going to teach before you're teaching it in terms of preparing on material. He sets the tone for the room. And if you look at the offensive linemen that the New York Giants brought in, like we talked about in our last video with Chat Sports, Andrew Thomas, round 1. Matt Pert, round 3. Shane Lemieux, round 5. Lemieux, 4-year starter at Oregon, so he has that experience. My favorite thing about Daniel Jones is the potential for the second-year QB. Look, if we go back to the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Carson Wentz going into that last couple of weeks of the season was the heavy Vegas favorite to be the NFL MVP. Year 2 as a starter. Pat Mahomes in 2018, year 2 as a starter. 50 touchdowns, wins MVP. Last year, Lamar Jackson, year 2 as a starter, becomes the NFL MVP. So, I'm not saying he's going to win MVP, but he does have a chance to have a breakout monster year. Do you guys believe in Daniel Jones the way I do? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Because I think the New York Giants have the weapons and the capabilities of letting Daniel Jones have a breakout season for the New York Giants. This is also the first time in 3 years that the Giants have exercised the 5th-year option, and they used it on one of the players that can help Daniel Jones have a breakout season, and that is Evan Engram. The 5th-year option was picked up on him. Through 2021, he will be with the New York Giants. He's a hybrid tight end. We know all about Evan Engram, but if you don't know about Evan Engram, he's that new breed of tight end that can line up as a wide receiver, sub 4.4 at the 40 during his draft season, and he needs to stay healthy for the offense to reach its potential. If you look last year in the Super Bowl, George Kittle, Travis Kelce. 1A, 1B when it comes to the best tight ends in football. I think Evan Engram is not that far off that tier of tight end, but he needs to stay healthy. He's missed 13 games in the last 2 years as a New York Giant. He played in 8 games last season. In 34 games, he's caught 153 passes for 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns. If you stretch that out over a 16-game season, of course, he has to stay healthy. The average is to about 72 receptions, 831 yards, and 5 touchdowns, which is very, very solid for the tight end position. I'm expecting a big year for Evan Engram for the simple fact that it's a contract year. I love nothing more than betting on a player who's going into a final year of a contract who wants to get paid. And that's exactly what Evan Engram wants to do. And if you take a look at the landscape of the NFL, having a top tier tight end means that your team is going to have success in the National Football League. Another guy who got the 5th-year option picked up by the New York Giants, though he wasn't drafted by the New York Giants, is former Michigan alum Jabrill Peppers. Peppers, 24 years old, registered 76 tackles, 5 of them for loss, 1 interception, 3 forced fumbles, and a defensive touchdown last season with Big Blue. You're looking at a starting safety pair that has upside to be one of the best pairs in the National Football League, with 2nd-round pick from Alabama, Xavier McKinney, coming in. Very versatile safety, and I think one thing that you look at both Peppers and McKinney is that you could do so much with guys that can cover in the slot, can cover a wide receiver, can cover a tight end, and they can play both the free and strong safety positions for the New York Giants. And it's a pairing that I think is going to be one of the pairings you need to watch going into 2020. And my question to you guys is, who will have a bigger impact on the New York Giants in 2020? Type E for Engram, type P for Peppers. 2 guys who had their 5th-year option picked up by the New York Giants. One thing I want to talk about real quick before we sign off is the idea of getting some more veteran players to come in to help both the defensive and the offensive side of the football, but in particular the defensive side of the football. And when you're looking at one name that sticks out, who to many people is still a free agent, that they can't believe is a free agent, I think you're looking at a guy like Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney, 27 years old, arguably was the best free agent defensive lineman on the entire free agency pool. He was just asking for a lot of money. He wanted north of $20 million, and for a player who doesn't really register the sacks that you would want for a guy that you're paying that much money, he did not do what was expected of him with Seattle. Speaking of Seattle, they've already closed the door on the opportunity of bringing him back. They said that they are ready to move on from Jadeveon Clowney. And remember, they traded some assets to get him in. So it goes to show you that he didn't do enough to stay with the team that invested so much of their future on that player. Odds are 5-1 that the New York Giants sign Jadeveon Clowney. His asking price has been dropped down to $17 million per year as opposed to 20. That is a little bit more reasonable, but Jadeveon Clowney's still a free agent. And I think one reason why is because of the sack numbers. When you're paying a guy that much money, you want to get sacks too. That's the big juicy number that everyone looks at when they call you over or underrated at that position as a defensive lineman. Another guy that you're looking at that can bring some veteran experience to a position of need for the New York Giants and a unit of need is former Patriot Logan Ryan, who was with the Tennessee Titans over the last couple of seasons. He also has ties to Joe Judge during his tenure with the New England Patriots. Per PFF, ideal landing spot for Logan Ryan is the New York Giants. That's why we're talking about him in this video. Adds experience to a position who only James Bradbury, who they brought in currently on the roster, is a guy with that many years in the league in the secondary. So there's a guy who can bring a lot of leadership to a unit that over the last 5 to 10 years in the NFL has become a unit that means a lot to your team's success with how much passing is done in the National Football League now in 2020. He can play all positions of cornerback, but mostly he's productive in the slot, which nowadays over 70% of the teams in the NFL line up with 3 wide receiver sets. So slot corner is no longer something that brings you down as a cornerback or means that you're not good enough. It means that this is a position that is very, very important for a team's success. And you're looking at Logan Ryan, he can line up in the slot and can be very, very productive. So who do you guys want the Giants to sign in free agency when it comes to guys that are still available for the New York Giants to sign? Type C for Clowney and type R for Logan Ryan. My preferred choice, because we need all the help we could get on the defensive line and it hasn't really been addressed, it would be Jadeveon Clowney. And going back to Daniel Jones to bring it full circle, the Giants have another 2 to 3 seasons in which they could take advantage and bring in big name players on big contracts because they are not paying their quarterback. You look at the landscape of the NFL. When you don't pay your quarterback, you can assemble a powerful roster of talented players around him until he's due that 30, 35 million per season. So let me know what you guys think about this video. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. And I will talk to you guys next time on the Giants Report.